Ayin Gimel, 73. Mishum Pseidah de Lekuchos. Rava says we're dealing with the question that if an aid is made an aid zomein, do we passel him as a Russia only going forward?
Yes.
Or do we go going backwards as well? So
One second.
Rava says we can't go backwards because people did business. Why? And they're going to lose money that he signed for them. It's not fair to them. Ayin Harold, Ayin Gimel. 73 on the top. My binayu. What's the difference between Abai and Rava? Between these reasonings. The one nafkamina could be the asidu beit trei lechad u'trei lechad. Two Eidim, so there were Reuven and Shimon came and said they saw something happen Monday at 1 o'clock. Then a week later, two Eidim say, no. Reuven was with us in Disneyland. And Levi and Shimon come and say, no, Shimon was with us in Disneyland. So it's not like they came and they said both of them. So we said, Rava said, one reason might be because the whole issue of Eidim Zomim is a chidush. Well, because you have Trey Utrey, you have two people and two people. Why do we believe the second set of Eidim? We should believe the first set. Why do we give preference to the second set? It's a chidush. So la'ach lishna da amrid mishum chidush leka. Well, here you have two Eidim coming and saying one was with us. What's 2 versus 1? There's no chidush here. La'ach lishna da amrid mishum pseidah lekuchos ikka. You have enough kamina. In all cases, it would be a problem for business people that were losing money, so we would still say that's a problem. Rav Papa Ude Kavose de Rava. Rav Papa Patskin like Rava. Listen to this. Rav Ashi Yomer Hilchas Kavose de Abaya. The Hilchas Kavose de Abaya be Ya'al Kagam. This is the famous Ya'al Kagam, 6 places in Shas that we paskin like Abaya, and the ayin is Eid Zomein. That we pasel him lemafreya, according to Abaya. Yal Kagam. Wow.
Is it because of prayer, believing or not, or no?
Say that again?
Is it because Abaya believes in prayer or holds?
No.
No.
Something to do with that.
Okay.
Machlokas between Abaya, and they each had their svara. The Gemara ended up passing like Abaya, but there are I believe there are 318 machlokas Abaya and Rava throughout Shas, or maybe 347. It's above 300, and in all of Shas, we paskin like Rava in every case, except for 6. Yal Kagam, which is the way we paskin Abaya. And the ayin of Yal Kagam is Eid Zomin. What is the Yud? Yud is Yehu Shlomi Das. If does an owner give up hope without knowing? We're going to learn that in Bava Metzia. The ayin is the Eid Zomim. Do we go backwards? A lechi, the lamed is lechi, ha'onim be'elav v'lo b'dei odom. When you build a lechi, which is that sideboard in a mavui, it's there naturally, and it wasn't created by human being. Is that considered a lechi? The kuf is kiddushin, shalonim sru labia. Is it kiddushin? That means if it's kiddushin, that can't lead to bia, for maybe a technical reason. The gimel is gilui das begedim nechshav. It has something to do with get. Umumr la'avar aver lachis imu posel le'edis. a Jew who violates sins, lachis, is he postulated or not? That's Yal Kagam. Okay. It's not. The same Reuven and Shimon are the Adim that said that the guy stole, and they're the same Adim that said that the guy shecht. V'ninsu zomami. Levi and Shimon come and say Reuven and Shimon were with us in Disneyland when they claim they saw this happen. So then Mishalim and Esakol. So Reuven and Shimon pay Dal Vehei, the kefil of the ganif, and the extra 2 to 3 for the tfich and the mechir. My love, sheheidu ala gneva v'chaz reidu ala tficha. The Gemara wants to say, in Bezdin, first they gave testimony about the theft. Then right away they gave testimony about the, means on the same day, they gave testimony on both. V'huzmu ala gneva, v'chazru v'huzmu ala tvicha. 2 Adim came and said they were with us when they claimed they saw the gneva. And 2 other Adim come and say they were with us when they claimed they saw the tvicha. Now, the Isa gedaitich lemafreya hu nifsal. Bias says that we go back to the original time he testified, and we say that all of that is possible. But Hani, even the itzmula agneva. So the Adim first showed up, the Adim, and claimed that they were with us by the gneva. Well, now we know that when they testified on the tvicha, they were apostle. They should only have to pay for the kefil and not for the tvicha. It's a good kasha. So the Adim that came, that said, oh, they were with us when they testified about the shechita, that happened first. So it doesn't passel the Edis Agneva, because that happened before the Tzvicha. Amri sof sof ki adri mitzvah Agneva. Once they're made Muslim on the Gneva, Gloy Milsa, the Chiasabi, whatever you want to say, it's going to be retroactive that they were passel by the Tzvicha testimony. Amay Mishlam el Tzvicha. So the Hilchasa, so based on the way Abaya is learning, they gave simultaneous on the Gneva and the Tvicha. V'huzmu. Because Lamafreya, they said it at the same thing. One didn't precede the other. Okay. Lema Kitanoi. Let us say that this machlokas Abaya and Rava, whether we go backwards or not, is really an earlier machlokas. It's a Tanaitic machlokas. Here's a baraisa. Hayu shnai me'idnos or shagan. 2 Adim say he was a gun. Vehain and the same Adim me'idnos or shatavach. They say he shechted. V'huzmu ala gneva. Now, maybe the gneva took place at 1 o'clock. The shechita took place at 2 o'clock. So 2 Adim who were there at 1 o'clock come and say, oh, you know, when they claim at 1 o'clock, the gneva, they witnessed the gneva, they were with us in Disneyland. So Edu Shabbat L'Mitzvah L'Kula. Well, they're the same Edus. So the Gemara wants to say it goes away completely. But if Huzmal Atvicha, if Edim Zomim came and said, you know, at 2 o'clock, when we saw the Tvicha, when they claim they saw the Tvicha, they were with us in Disneyland, Mishayim Tashlumei Kefil. The Edus of Geneva doesn't go away. It remains. The Hain, these Edim who were made Zomim, Mishayim Tashlumei Shlosha, the Shnaim or Shlosh, they pay for the 2 or 3 for the Tvicha. That's the Tanakh. Rav Yosef Lamed Varamur B'Shtei Eidios. That's where there were, we don't know what that means yet, but where there were two distinct testimonies. Aval Be'edus Achas, with one testimony, which the Gemara will have to explain what that means. And then there was Hazama on the Tvicha part, then it goes away. Edus Shabbat L'Mitzvah, Shabbat L'Kul. Now, let's understand Rabbi Yossi's Shita better. My b'shtei ediyus, umay be'edus achas. What did Rabbi Yossi mean? 2 versus 1. Ileme b'shtei ediyus means b'shtei ediyus mamish, which meant shtei kitos, 2 different groups, Reuven and Shimon, Levi and Yehuda, and they testified separately. And edus achas is bekas achas. Reuven and Shimon gave testimony about Geneva and about Tvicha, but B'Zachar Zeh. Sequentially, first on the Geneva and then on Tvicha. So that which Rav Yossi said, Shomer Rav Yossi Beidus Achas, means Bevas Achas, B'Zachar Zeh, one group of Vedim that gave sequential testimony, Ki Mesadi Agneva, V'Hoda Mesadi Ala Tvicha. Now, they can't give testimony about both at the same time. There was a kadima, there was an order. First, they gave testimony about the Gneva, then a Tvicha. However, Ki Mitzami, on the Tvicha part, when Eidim Zomim came, and they said, when they testified about the Tvicha, no, they were with us. That's an example of the Eidush Shabbat L'Mitzvah Shabbat L'Kula. V'Tzamel Ala Gneva, and the Gneva testimony is thrown out as well. Well, why should the testimony about the Gneva go away? The Azama was only about the Tvicha. It wasn't Muzim. Why should that Edus be Mizbatel? So that explanation doesn't work for us. And so Elalav b'shtei edius means be'edus achas ke'ein shtei edius. One testimony that's like 2. Umaynenu. And what is that? Hasachas. One group of 2 Eidim, Reuven and Shimon. B'zachar zeh. So that's the first case. Bamed var mamon b'shtei edius, the Brisa says. Where you could end up paying kefil, you could end up paying one side of it. But if it was edus achas, then the whole thing goes away. Although the edus achas means bevasach, they testified at the same time about the Gneva and the Tvicha, then it would, if they were Muslim on the Tvicha, they would be, the Gneva testimony would go away too. Because of the concept of Eidah Shabbatla Miktzah Shabbatla Kula. Savrua. Now, how did the Talmidim who learned this Baraisa, how did they understand it? They understood it like this. The Kula Alma Toch Kedei Dibur Kedibur Dami. Toch Kedei Dibur is a principle that if I say something, and within a period of time that is Shalom Aleichem Rebbe, that's Toch Kedei Dibur. It's 1 second. The amount of time it takes to say Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. So if it's beyond that, it's not Toch Kedei Dibur. So what's the status of Toch Kedei Dibur? And my love Bava Kama Daf. The Rabbanon Savri, the Reisha of Rabbi Yossi says, Mikan ulahabohum nifsa. They hold like the way Rava held, that an aid only becomes a posel aid only going forward, not backward. So So from that time that they were made Muslim. So Hatvicha de Komitzimi, Itzim, they were Zomimim for the Tvicha, but the Geneva lo Mitzimi, lo Itzim. The testimony that was given on the Geneva does not go away. But Rabbi Yosi Savar, Lemafreyahu Nifsal, goes backwards. So even though when they came to Bezdin at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and maybe their testimony at 4 o'clock was about the Geneva, and at 4:05 was about the Tvicha, but it went before. The Kivan Shemiyat Yasidu the Mifsali. Once they were made Zomimim, they're an 8 sheker. It's Mulat Tvicha, it's Mulat Me'agneva. Both testimonies go away because he's considered a Rosh from when he first started to testify. They were said within Tokdei Dibur, the two Eidios. And therefore the two testimonies are considered a Bvasakas. So the Gemara says no. Amri, Tokdei Dibur Dami, if in fact the testimony about the Geneva and the testimony about the Tvicha took place very close together, everybody holds like a Abaya. And therefore, if only the Tvicha was Muslim, the Geneva goes away as well. The whole thing goes away. Here the Shaila is different. Who do they hold of Toch Kedei Dibur? This principle. Rabbanan Savi Toch Kedei Dibur Lav Kedei Tutam. Just because they did it very quickly doesn't mean that it's considered like one Dibur. It's considered like two Diburim. Rabbi Yosi Savi Toch Kedei Dibur Kedibur Dami. So is that so? The Savar Rabbi Yosi Toch Kedei Dibur Kedibur Dami? So the Gemara is going to show us that Rabbi Yosi doesn't hold that way. Vatna. Person has an animal, he says, I raise a tmuras oila tmura shlami. He wants to make a tmura. He has animal A and animal B. And he points to animal B and he says, I want animal B to be a tmura, like a backup for animal A. And he says, I want this to be a tmuras ola tmura shlami. Well, what is it? It can't be both. So, Harezu Tmuras Oila div Reb Meir. Reb Meir holds it Tafus Lashon Rishon. It's what a person says first that we listen to. So he says Tmuras Oila, Tmuras Shamim. What he means is it's a Tmuras Oila. Rabbi Yosi Omer depends. Im lekach neskavim etchila. If he wanted the animal to be both, Hoil v'yefshel likros shnei shemus ke'echad. Only a Kodesh Baruch Hu can say Shomer v'Zocher at the same time. A human being cannot utter two words at the same time. He has to say Tmuras Oila, Tmuras Shlam. He can't do anything else. So we ask him what his kavanah was. And if he wanted it to be both Dvar of Kayamin, and we have to treat that animal with stringencies of both. But if we investigate the guy and we Imamar Tmuras Oila, and then he changed his mind, v'nimlach. And he said, I really don't want that. V'amar Tmura Shlamim, hareza Tmura Soila. Even though v'avina nimlach pshita, it's certainly that if he changed his mind, it was already chal Tmura Soila. What kind of chiddush is that for Amar Avkaka nimlach b'toch k'dei dibur kamrinan? And even so, Rav Yosi doesn't hold of Toch Kedei Dibur. How can you tell me up here he holds of Toch Kedei Dibur? Yeah, the Gemara says there are Trei Toch Kedei Dibur Havi. There are two types of Toch Kedei Dibur. Chad is Kedei Sheila Shalom Shel Talmid L'Rav. It's how a Talmid says Shalom Echem to his Rav, which is longer. Versus Kedei She'iles Rav L'Talmud, which is shorter. What is that? Ki Leslie Rav Yosi, when Rav Yosi rejects Toch Kedei Dibur if it's long. Kedei She'iles Talmud L'Rav, which says Shalom Alecha Rebbe Umoiri, the Nafish. Kidei Shilas Rav L'Talmid, Shalom Alecha. The Rav just says Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Alecha. And that he holds would work toch to keeper. So terrific sugya. Omer Rav. You have Adim who testify that this guy was a murderer. But hukshu. Other Adim come and say, no, he didn't kill a guy, he injured him. He didn't die. Hukchash is not hazama. Hukchash is just contradictory testimony. Now, Ulavasov, in the end, Uzmu, other Adim come and say the first group were with us in Disneyland. So when Adim come and Reuven and Shimon come and they say, we saw Levi kill Yehuda. And then Yisachar and Zvulun come and say, and we ask them, what time did Levi kill Yehuda? And they tell us Monday at 1:00 in the afternoon. And then 2 hours later, Yisachar and Zvulun show up to Bezin and say, what do you mean? Monday at 1:00, Reuven and Shimon were with us in Disneyland. So we take Reuven and Shimon out and kill them. Because by saying that Levi killed Yehuda, Levi would have been taken out and killed based on their testimony. So you do to Eidim Zomim what they tried to do to the litigant. So Rava says, even though initially other Eidim came and were makchish, so technically the testimony should go away. But then if Eidim Zomim come and say, no, they were with us in Disneyland, they're killed. The Hakchasha Tchilas HaZomahi. Hakchasha is like a preamble to Azam. Ela Shalom Nigmara. The Eidim that were going to testify that they were Zomim hadn't showed up yet. Big thing. Amar Rava, Meno Aminallah. How do I know this? The time. Me'idani bi'ishplonish esimes ein avdo. I give testimony that Chaim Yankel blinded his Eved. Now, when you blind your Eved, he goes free. And then I saw him knock out his tooth. So now he's a free man that he knocked out a tooth. He has to pay him money. Sharei Rav Omer came. And the master agrees to it. V'nimtzu, the Eidim that gave this testimony were found to be Zoymemin, Mishalmin Dmei Ayin Le'evet. They pay the value of the eye to the Evet. Because what would have happened if their Adis was accepted? The Evet would have gone free. He wouldn't have gotten any damages for his eye. But now it was because he just goes free with damage when his eye was knocked out. He doesn't get damaged. But now that they were found to be Eidim Zomamin, they get the Dmei eye.
Yeah, but the slave doesn't go free. What's worth more? It could be worth more to the slave to not to get for his eye and to go free.
It's not up to the evidence. It's up to the facts of the case.
Yeah, the case because
it could be. You're right. It could be on a personal basis what the evidence would want, but that's not how the Bezdin's going to paskin. They're going to paskin based on this. May I and le'evet. Now the Gemara one still is not clear. Heichi domi. Ile mikidiktani. The leka kasachrina. That there wasn't another group of Eidim. So what do you mean, Mishalmin Dmei Ayin Le'evet? What do you mean that the first group has to pay the Dmei Ayin Le'evet? Bosser de Mafkile, after their testimony to make him go free because his eye was hit, and then when they were made Muslim, Demei Einu Kavi Shlumi, they do have to pay the Demei Ayin. The Ode, and if the Edus was Sheker, Demei Kul Eved L'Rav Boy L'Shlumi. They should, what did they try to do? They try to have the Eved go free. So they should pay damages to the master, the complete value of the Eved. The Ode, what do you mean Sharia Rav Oimerke? Harav Minichale? Was the master happy that his Eved was going free? So none of this makes sense. Elalav can go to also bait the two Adim came the Amri. He Pilashino, the master knocked out his tooth. And after he knocked out his tooth, Si Meis Eno, he blinded him. The boy Mesavle, Harav Dmei Eno. They're going to have to pay what they tried to get the Rab to pay the value of knocking out his ayin. Because once he knocked out his tooth, the evidence is free. So now if he knocked out a free man's ayin, you have to pay nezek like you pay any Jew. So that's what the first group of Adim wanted to do. V'asu beitrei mitzioi. Now, two other witnesses in the middle come, va'amri. It was not that he knocked out his tooth first and then knocked out his eye, but it was the opposite. Simes eno v'hader es shino. That the Eved went free with losing the eye. Okay. This is a very important call that I'm getting from overseas about a halachic question in urology. So we'll continue tomorrow, 7:30, where we left off, okay?
Surah's 8.
Surba's at 8 and 8 o'clock. Daf Yomi 7:30, Surba's 8 o'clock. Hello.